With just around a week left before the election, climate experts are putting out a pretty stark warning. You allow Donald Trump to win the election, and pretty much kiss the planet goodbye. Wow. Experts who spoke with Salon about the 2024 presidential election are all in agreement that the election is a critical moment for the planet, the climate movement, and given Trump's record on the environment, if he wins, it will be incredibly difficult to curb fossil fuel emissions. So I'm going to give you a couple of quotes here. One of them is from Dr. Peter Kalmus, a NASA climate scientist speaking for himself and not for NASA. Quote, if Trump wins, he will undoubtedly do his best to accelerate irreversible planetary overheating as rapidly as he can. He's completely out of touch with reality on planet Earth. Well, I mean, come on. Is that really fair? I mean, how could you say that about a guy who says this is about coal?
Clean coal, meaning they're taking out coal, they're going to clean
They're
it.
just gonna scrub the coal, and make it clean. You might even come out as diamonds. Now, who knows? Oh my God. Okay. There's more. Dr. Mark Cerise, director of the National Snow and Ice Data Center, said, quote, if Trump wins, very little will be done. Progress will be undone. Very simple. And Dr. Kevin Trenberth, a scholar at the National Center for Atmospheric Research, said all indications are that Trump would be a major disaster for dealing with climate change and just about everything else that requires international diplomacy. Great. Fantastic. Wow. And you look at the polls, and they're a little close. But oh, come on, how bad could it be? I mean, okay, well, answer that question. We should look at what he's already done. Well, back when he was president, Trump withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, which was to, try to prevent 1.5 degrees of warming by 2030. Okay, which kind of a weak target when it comes to this, because again, it mitigates some of the climate change, but not the stuff that's already here, that's already baked in, that we're experiencing right now and will continue to experience in the future now. But he also rolled back more than 100 environmental rules. He expanded drilling of fossil fuels when he was talking about, well, we're going to drill, baby, drill. That's exactly what he did. And also killed many environmental business regulations. So, yeah, that's what he did. But he's not done yet. Oh, no. Project 2025 promises to dismantle the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which, by the way, they look at storms, like they predict hurricanes. What's gonna happen? So you're just gonna get rid of the people who predict the storms? That doesn't get rid of the storms. Stupid. All right. And also he's planning to politicize the EPA. That's right. EPA currently, based on science, he's like, no, we're going to put a bunch of political hacks in there that are going to have ties to the fossil fuel industry. Oh, lovely. He's also expected to continue his previous practice of scrubbing references to human-caused climate change from government documents and policies, and then replace it with misinformation. Misinformation. Like clean coal. And like, oh, windmills, windmills, very, very bad for birds. They cause cancer. That's what it is. Wind. Oh my God, here we go. Now look, I'm not saying that Kamala Harris is a climate warrior is going to get us the Green New Deal. No, no, I don't think so. And look, these experts aren't saying that either. Okay, Dr. Drenberth, for example, said, "Not clear how much Harris will be a savior, but she is far and away better than Trump." Look, they're saying that because her plan, while it includes stronger emissions regulations and subsidizing clean energy, it's good stuff, right? She is also supporting fossil fuels and fracking, and would continue the climate change policies passed by the Inflation Reduction Act, which is something, but not far enough. Okay. Her policies, again, generally don't address what is an existential issue. It won't increase our problems, but it doesn't actually go far enough to solve the problems. Now, speaking of problem, remember, you've got one major political party that doesn't even believe the problem actually exists. Okay. They're just like, no, it's not real. It doesn't exist. Nope. Funny enough, on the one hand, they say like, oh, humans can't change the climate. What are you, crazy? You can't do that. But on the other hand, they also think that Democrats possess a hurricane gun that keeps that gets aimed at red states. You know, kind of like the
Jewish space lasers.
stuff like that. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So now look, while Harris and Democrats are obviously better on climate policies than Republicans, okay, these experts do point out that there's one policy where both candidates kind of agree, and it's pretty disastrous, and that's war. In fact, Trendberth says the biggest issue for climate change and everything are the wars and conflicts around the world. And then, we obviously talked about the conflicts with Russia, Iran, Gaza, Sudan, North Korea. So, these conflicts, again, war's not so good for the environment. In fact, he says wars are extremely bad for the environment, quite aside from all the other bad aspects. Yeah, pretty devastating, right? So that's an issue. That said, Michael Mann points out that even if we stopped funding all the wars, which we should do, right? It'd be nice if we stopped funding all these wars. That alone will not be enough, okay? In fact, Mann says, quote, it's actually pretty simple. We've got to get off fossil fuels as quickly as possible. It's hard to see that happening in the event of a Trump victory, which is why I've said before, and I'll say again, a second Trump presidency is game over for meaningful climate action. Yeah. And look, currently we're headed to 3.1 degrees warming by 2100, according to a disastrous report released by the UN. We're supposed to, if we want to avoid the worst, hit 1.5 C by 2030. Where are we at now? How we doing on that goal? Turns out we are cruising right past it, rolling coal. According to that UN report, we have fallen 40% short of what we need to do to hit that target by 2030. Meaning we're going to go past it, meaning we're warming even faster. According to Simon Steele, UNFCCC's executive secretary, current national climate plans fall miles short of what's needed to stop global heating from crippling every economy and wrecking billions of lives and livelihoods across every country. Greenhouse gas pollution at these levels will guarantee a human and economic train wreck for every country without exception. So it's going to hit every country without exception, but however, okay, and this is the rub, right? The impacts are not felt the same across economic lines. Rich people will be able to deal with it much easier than poor people. That's the way it's always been, unfortunately. So you're going to have poorer countries that are already suffering, right? That are going to be suffering even more before it starts affecting rich countries. Whereas in the rich countries, it's going to start affecting the poor people far more quickly and worse than it will affect the rich in the rich countries. They will be the last affected. And when that happens, it's far too late. So, massive disaster. Oh, yeah, we're barreling there. Okay. Now, that said, can it be avoided? Surprisingly, yes. But only if there is immediate global mobilization on a scale and pace only ever seen following a global conflict. Look, that's the way that we should be looking at this problem, by the way. This is a global conflict against pollution, against the warming climate. And yes, just as if we can, just since we can have an impact on creating this problem, we can also have an impact in curbing the problem. So, yeah, it's technically possible to do that. However, probably not if we continue going down the same road. That said, if Donald Trump gets elected again, probably not goes to definitely not. So, right there, that's our choice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.